100%.
Amazing. Welcome to the Monday Night Show. This is the Champions Edition, lads. We did a little one the other week, but actually seeing us lift the trophy means so much more, doesn't it? What a day yesterday was. It's quite emotional yesterday. Dave, how did you feel? We saw one of our best and brightest move on.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was 5,000 miles away, as you know, but yeah, it was. I would have just done anything to be there. Yeah, the reception, even just with 10,000 there that Sergio got, was more than well deserved. I mean, I was crying when that first goal went in, and when his second one went in, just absolutely incredible. And my God, we're going to, knowing the player he is and how many goals he scored and the way he played for that last 30 minutes as well. I mean, that's what we used to see, and my God, we're going to miss him.
Oh, that the header, the power he got on the header was, and you know, I was sat in a room full of family, and most of it, you know, after the two goals, it was like, why is he going again? Does he really need to go? It's kind of like, yeah, he does probably need to go. You know, it's his last swan song. This, and do you know what? I don't think I've cheered as much as when that first goal went in, and I was like, oh, he's equalled the record. Go on, Sergio, go and get another, and he did. How good was that to beat that record of Rooney? My brother said to me, Rooney's gutted. Rooney's sat in a room somewhere, absolutely fuming somewhere. Amazing, absolutely fantastic, brilliant that.
Yeah.
Brian, did you manage to watch the game, pal? You must have done.
I did, mate, and it was. I mean, the score was irrelevant, really, and it's just a perfect fairy tale, wasn't it? At the end, like we've had some players leaving the last few years, and they've all been absolute stalwarts, but they've always seemed to have gone out with some kind of, you know, some kind of furore behind them, you know, like a good bang. Companies screaming at home.
Yeah.
And then Sergio last night, brace from the bench.
I'm hoping Sergio
left that little taste of everything that he's done in the last 10 years is right there in that last 30 minutes. He's summed up perfectly. Couldn't have gone any better, could it really?
You say this, but I'm still clutching to hope that he's got one last part to play. He's got one. There must be one last part to play in the Sergio era, and I don't know. I'm not going to say too much more, but you kind of get where I'm going with that, don't you?
Yeah.
So we had 2017 Zabaleta left, 2018 Yaya left, 2019 Company left, 2020 Sir David Silva left, and obviously this year Sergio. We've got no one left, have we? Who's left after this, lads? Who's going next year?
Fernandinho.
Fernandinho!
Yeah.
No!
Really.
It's gonna be one a season now for the next few years, isn't it?
Oh,
I take it. If he wants to stay forever, I'll take it. He's 36 now, and he's playing better than most 25-year-olds. So yeah.
Dave, you're the one that's championing the Fernandinho for coaching roles, aren't you? So you take the reins, my friend. He must have more of a part to play than anyone else in the backroom staff.
I mean, I'm hearing now he's going to get another year, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's been confirmed, but I mean, based on yesterday's performance and his performance against PSG, me and Pulpy have had our arguments a little bit with this. I would definitely play Fernandinho on Saturday. I just would. I think he brings that knowledge and experience and game management to. I think he's club captain. He should play on Saturday.
If there was ever a game where we needed somebody with the shithousery who can control a game, who can lead a pass, who can make a tackle, who can intercept. Yes, he's not got the legs of Rodri got, but he's got more guile about him in his right foot than Rodri has, unfortunately, at this moment in time. And we need Fernandinho more, I think. I'm waiting for Rodri to prove me wrong on Saturday. He'll probably start Saturday.
I think if you're just going to quickly gloss that, it's like he's going to play some part, whether he starts or whether he comes on. He's going to feature, and he will be on for complete shithousery. I can guarantee it.
Yeah.
No question.
And if that's towards the end of the game, then
they're finished.
Yeah.
We kind of need that, and also what's going to happen? He gets a yellow card and he can't play the next game. No, that's the final. So go for it.
Yeah,
he can do whatever he wants.
Absolutely. Let's come back on
the two hands.
What, do a Suarez against? Was it Uruguay? Who did Suarez do
Was
that
it
handball
Ghana,
for?
right? It was
Ghana. That was it.
That
Yeah.
was against Ghana. Yeah.
I tell you what, I gained a lot of respect for him for doing that, because I think I would have done exactly the same thing in his position.
Yeah.
Tell that to the Ghanaians.
So Sergio's moving on. As you can imagine, there's press doing left, right, and centres about there's a spat between Sergio and Pep when he about 3 months ago. There's all sorts of rumours starting to kick around today that it's the usual media stuff, lads, where they try and just throw a little hand grenade in the middle of a nice story just to try and whip up a bit of a frenzy. But we all know, all four of us, five of us sat around this on our microphones know that it was time for Sergio to go. It's the right time, isn't it? We've seen him play a couple of times.
No, none of us wanted to admit it 6 months ago that it could be the end, but now it's come to a natural conclusion, I think. And you can see he's a bit sad, and you can obviously saw the way Pep were talking. He was quite down about it, sad and emotional. But at the end of the day, would you rather him go out like this or play 3 games next season, and not be featuring? And
it's the right time.
No, it's the right time. Go out with a bang. Go out in the way he come in.
Well, literally the way he come in. Literally, if he doesn't play again this season, he's came on his first game, scored 2 goals, finish off with 2 goals, both coming off the bench. Brilliant. I'm just disappointed.
What a way to sign off.
Absolutely fantastic, and he's gone down as an absolute legend, hasn't he? And I don't know if anyone saw the minutes per goal record that shot up after his second goal yesterday. 100 every 108 minutes he scores a goal. That's phenomenal.
In the Prem or all competitions?
Premier League.
In the Prem.
Yeah.
In the Prem.
Wow. He's 12 minutes ahead of Henry, right?
Then Harry Kane. Yeah, so Henry's on 122 minutes. Harry Kane's 123 minutes. Van Nistelrooy 128 minutes.
And you look at that, but they're 3 of some of the best 10 strikers I've ever played in the league. So that speaks for itself, doesn't it?
It's phenomenal, really.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he's beat that record of Rooney's. I just wanted him to do something else a bit different. I mean, that's been on my radar for about 4 months now.
Particularly being a rag as well. That's great that we've taken another record away from them.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything to take a little bit more away from them. Absolutely fantastic. And we're gonna do a podcast, aren't we, lads? We're gonna do a Sergio podcast about his greatest moments, his worst moments.
Let's save it for next week.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it as soon as we can. Maybe not next week, pal. Give me a bit of time to do some research. Jesus, but we'll certainly try and get something in the calendar for at least this month to do that. But what a way to go off yesterday. He got his bumps, didn't he, and everything like that. But looking in advance of the best moments. Dave? What about you? In fact, we'll go to Tibbs. What's your best moment for Sergio? Taking away the QPR moment, which I think everyone's gonna stick on the radar.
Yeah, taking away QPR, for me, I think it was the one against Liverpool. Just one touch to control the ball and another to just shoot it all the way up.
Yeah.
I just rewatched it recently, and it's just, there's nothing you can do against this ball. It's not going straight. It's not going to the side. It's going straight top of the net. And it's what you could describe as an angry goal, which is so satisfying when it's against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Arguably one of the biggest rivals in this era right now, outside of the United rivalry. I think that's the one for me.
I was sat next to Liverpool fans of that game. I tell you what, they're horrible bastards, they are. But I tell you what, when that ball went in, that was phenomenal. That was amazing. Was that the one Sane won the game for us? Was that the 2-1 game?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Neil? What was your favourite game?
Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree with Tibbs there, because he scored more goals. He's obviously scored bigger goals with the 93-20 and everything. But looking at the context of that match, which was a title race, and we were 7 points behind Liverpool at the time, I think. So it was a must-win for us. And if you just look at the manner of the goal, he literally got that goal out of nothing, and that's what Sergio does. He scores out of nothing. That was typical Sergio moment, and it came at the most important time.
I don't know if you guys have seen that video without any commentary, and where you just hear the fan noises. That's one of the best commentaries I've heard. That was one of the best sound clips I've heard. That it's amazing. Mm-hmm. What about you, Brian? What are you thinking, pal? What's your favourite Sergio moment?
I have 3 off the top of my head that I can think of straight away, but I'm going to go with, I'll save the others for another time, but for me, the one that I get the most pleasure out of seeing is that one at Old Trafford where Phil Jones, his head's on the floor. He's like pulling all sorts of faces. I just think that one there is, especially because with the song done it, you signed Phil Jones, we signed Con Aguero, and those two together, and like Aguero's about to score an absolute beauty, and then Phil Jones is literally trying to eat grass on the floor, and it's like,
it's brilliant. What a great shout that was. Yeah. What a great shout. That was a good one. What you reckoning, Dave?
So I've just been trying to look now, and I can't find the date it was. maybe one of you will be able to refresh my memory. Sergio played the first half against Tottenham at White Hart Lane a few years ago. I think we beat them like 3-0 or something like that. And Aguero's performance, he went off injured at half time, but his performance in the first half, no one could get near him. I mean,
him and Xhaka, wasn't it? It was him and Xhaka up front. I'm sure, they were brilliant, weren't they, that first? I remember it.
Unbelievable. Like, literally no one could get near him. He was, and I just found that was it. He was at his pinnacle then, that he could do anything. No defender could touch him. And I'm trying to think what year it was. But he just destroyed them that day. And there's so many. Every goal he scored against United, obviously, I absolutely loved. Yeah. I particularly liked the one in the 6-1 because he really wanted to get on the score sheet as well. We had so many different scorers that day, and he had that striker's instinct of, I'm not leaving this game today without getting a goal. I think he got the 4th. Aguero that day, did he? Was it the 4th he got?
Can't remember.
Or the 3rd?
Can't remember.
Not sure. But yeah, that for me was certainly the Tottenham game where he was just on another planet to every other player on the pitch. And every goal he scored against United that he took so much pleasure out of as well, which I always love.
The debut for me always rings out. Just because we'd signed this lad for 35 million, something like that.
32?
So which is a fairly big price tag. Was it 32? Was it? I can't remember.
32, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
And it's like, we've seen from YouTube what he's done. I've never heard of this lad. I don't watch overseas leagues as I've mentioned. But when he came on, we're like, right, let's see what you can do, pal. We've seen strikers doing it left, right, and centre where they've come on. I think that's like bodging off, but the likes where you think, oh, this guy looks good, but can he actually do it? And before you know it, his second goal from outside the box was at 35-40 yard, pinged it, crossed the goalkeeper straight into the net, and it was just, I looked at my dad, and I was like, Jesus Christ, who have we signed here? He is amazing. Yeah. And a little pullback for Silva as well, perfectly for Silva to score as well. It's just one of those moments where you just handle something a little bit special. And what did he go on to do? And I'll come straight into, I'll segue nicely into that. So he's got the record of 12 Premier League hat-tricks. He's the highest scoring non-English player, 4th time leading goal scorer on 184, 20 plus goals in 6 Premier League seasons, 5 times Premier League winner, Golden Boot winner in 2014 and 2015. And I'll just come back to the point a second ago where he overtook Wayne Rooney's record of 183 goals for any single club. He did it in 117 games less than Wayne Rooney.
Wow. Yeah.
Phenomenal. What, honestly? How the hell do you replace a player like that? How are you supposed to replace him?
You don't, do you?
You don't, yeah.
You don't replace him. You just get somebody else, and he'll always have his place as like the greatest ever goal scorer we've had.
Absolutely.
I highly doubt that'll be beaten in our lifetimes. All of us here, even you two young lads here. I doubt you'll see. Yeah. I doubt you'll see it. I doubt we'll see anybody get close to it, to be fair. And if we do, then we are very, very lucky.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. We need somebody of the calibre of Phil Foden, but a striking version. That's possibly the only way we're going to get anywhere near doing that. I don't know, how's the lap developing? Is he?
He's good. I think next season we need to see him go out on loan somewhere, preferably I'd say a Premier League club, which is why I'm really rooting for Brentford to get promoted. Because all indications are that their striker Ivan Toney is going to leave. So then they are a very good team. They like to play, expansive possession football like we do, and they will need a striker. And their track record with strikers is good, from Neil Maupay to Ollie Watkins to obviously this guy Ivan Toney. So if they get promoted, I would very much like to see him go on loan there.
Well, there's a lot of things I was expecting us to discuss tonight, but it wasn't Brentford getting promotion. Jesus Christ, that you've thrown that right into the mix there, pal. I didn't even know they were in a chance of getting up.
Yeah, they're in the final, aren't they?
Yeah, they're in the playoff final.
Who are they playing in the playoff final? Brentford.
Swansea.
Yes.
Swansea
Against Swansea. Next.
Laney's really happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he smiling, Chris? I hope you're watching, Chris. Swansea in the final.
I think he is. He posted about it. I think he's pretty happy.
Good lad. Crikey, I hope for our sake you do win then. Come on, Chris. Come on, Swansea. All for you, pal. Although I do like the idea of Brentford now. You mentioned it. I'm like, what we could do with a team going straight down, and that's got Brentford written all over it, hasn't it? So that'll do.
Yeah.
There's me straight away thinking we need to be safe next season. City, can we get safe? 40 points.
I think we passed that now.
Get one of the as long as we get one of the upper teams to go down straight away, we're safe, lads. We're all right. We can make it for next season. Let's push on. So obviously, a brilliant day yesterday. I have some Everton fan friends who fully expected us to absolutely spank them yesterday. They all expected Sergio to get 10 goals and to go away. And it's funny, Everton have just gone into a massive free fall, aren't they? 10th position at the end of it. I can't put my head round Everton because I was expecting them to do really, really, really well. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. Does anyone want to have a chat about Everton? Because I don't know. I was expecting more from them this season.
Well, if you think about the manager that they have as well, Tom, that's the big thing for me. Ancelotti is one of the best managers in the world. I don't understand it. I always put Everton down every season. When Koeman was in charge as well for a good cup run. Making it to a final of the League Cup or FA Cup or something. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just they need to get out of Goodison Park or something and just have a completely fresh start to Everton Football Club because they've got money. They spend a lot of money. They've got one of the best managers in the world. They just don't seem to be able to do it on the pitch for some reason. I don't know why it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think they generally missed having fans at Goodison Park because let's be honest, Goodison Park's a shithole, isn't it? And they make it something special there. So not having fans there, and they've got quite a young team. If you think about some of their better players are all in their young 20s. So I imagine they're building for the future, and it doesn't actually help having Jordan Pickford in net, does it? Let's be honest, because he's a bit of a liability. So you can imagine the amount of games that they've never mind lost, but dropped points in because of goalkeeping errors. They could have quite easily been 10 points better off.
Yeah, it worries me a little bit from an England point of view. Go on, anyway. Sorry, Tibbs, go on.
No, I was going to say, there's some interesting things with Everton. Like Dave said, it feels like every year for the past couple of years, it's like, oh, is this going to be the year? Are they going to make it in Europe or something, rank higher? And the funny thing is, Ancelotti, it's the first season of his career where he doesn't finish sixth or higher. First time of his career, and that's frustrating. Being based in France, I've seen a lot of Moise Kean, who is on loan in Paris from Everton, but it sounds like he does not want to go back to Everton. But this young guy is such a talent, and in times when Calvert-Lewin seems to be having some sort of a drought in terms of scoring goals, they could use someone like Moise Kean, I think.
You can understand why I don't want to go back. I'd rather play in the Farmers League than play for Everton, if I'm honest.
And playing with Mbappe and Neymar.
Yeah. Well, Everton might have a lot of money that they've made some really, really bad signings in the last 5 years. That very similar to some of the signings that we made in the early stages of our second coming. You know what I mean? With a few like Santa Cruz sort of style and a few players that just didn't work out, but spent an awful lot of money on. So
Robinho,
I think they need to start getting transfers right, and they seem to be doing that with the young lads they've got.
Yeah, but I think this season, if you look at it, they almost had it in the bag for a while, and then lately as you say, they've free fallen because if you look at their last few matches, lost to Sheffield, draw with Villa, then draw with Tottenham, draw with Brighton, draw with Palace, lost to Burnley, lost to Chelsea. So it's and in these matches, so I haven't been watching them too closely, but looking at the lineups and everything, Ancelotti is largely gone with the same players. And I mean, after you lose to Sheffield United, who are considerably the worst team I've seen in a while in the Premier League, you have to change something. It's if you're losing to them, to some was that Jebison or someone who scored? Yeah, Daniel Jebison. I mean, if you're losing to Sheffield with one of their kids scoring past you have to change something, and he's still sticking. And it's not like he doesn't have players or they have too many injuries, because as you say, they've spent a fair amount of money and they've got some good players. But I have to pin this slightly on Ancelotti. I mean, yeah, he got them up there in the first place, but then he's also taken them down a bit with his own doing, really.
Has he spent? I know he's spent a lot of money. Brian, Pulpy, you brought on the subject there. Has he just not spent the money in the right way?
I think this season he made some good signs. Like Alan's a good player, and Godfrey's a really good young centre back as well. And let's be fair, they there's not many teams in the league play 4-4-2, and they do. You know, they still play 4-4-2, which is probably their downfall. They haven't got much. They haven't got much like flair that they can change around that.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they've just been a case of suffered a bit more towards him with some injuries, and you know they've got a young core of a team there. So I think if they can add 3 or 4 more to that next season, get a few of the donkeys leave, you know, move a few of those out that don't want to be there and aren't contributing, then you know 5 years ago you'd have thought with the money, if they came in with the money they've got now and did what they're doing, you think they'd be pushing for top 6. But now this top 6 is now bursting at the seams. It's top 10. You know, top 10 is now in a couple of years going to be the new top 6.
Yeah,
because all these teams have got so much money that they have. You know, you've got to spend a fortune just to be able to be in the top 10 now. You know, look at Wolves and Everton and you know these sort of teams, and Leicester and that. There's a good chance Leicester might not have a good season next year and they could finish 8th. But then, you know, doesn't mean that and Everton can make that jump because they're still going to have to considerably invest in their squad to get even close to where Leicester have been. And look at how unlucky Leicester have been for the last 2 years.
Yeah, but I think this season, with how close the table is, their 10th place, it's bad. Don't get me wrong, it is bad, but they're only 3 points of Tottenham in the Conference League spot. So if they'd won one of their games, and obviously it's a big if, but they're not that far away from Europe. Obviously, looking at the table, they're 3-4 spots away. But so given how this season has been, it's not as bad as 10th, but obviously it's not good. But it could easily have been a lot better for them. So it's fine margins. It's fine margins everywhere. If you look at Leicester, it's fine margins. If they'd held on yesterday, then they would have been in the Champions League. Now they're Europa League. So
Lewis Cooper on Facebook mentioned it was Ancelotti's biggest defeat of his managerial career. That says an awful lot, doesn't it? Yeah. That's another record we broke. Looking at the game yesterday, Kevin De Bruyne scored for us, which was a magnificent goal, by the way. Crikey, that was well taken. One thing I was really happy with De Bruyne is normally when he's missed a game or two, it usually takes him a bit of time to come back, doesn't it, and kind of find his flow again. He just seemed to be able to come straight into the game yesterday, as if he's not missed, as if he's played every single minute of every game, and he just seemed to do fantastically well. And I thought he's finished. Tibbs, what do you think of De Bruyne yesterday? How do you think he got on?
So a couple of things. I was thinking about it earlier, preparing for the show. The first thing is when watching the game yesterday, I saw him and it felt like there was a boulevard. Like the defenders were not closing in on that space, and you cannot do this with KDB. If you have this much space, he's gonna move in a little bit and he's gonna fire a rocket, like in the box, and then good luck to the goalkeeper. And that's exactly what happened. And it was almost like it felt like slow motion to me when he aligned and like put the ball in position and started shooting. I was like, well, this is going straight for goal. And it happened. And the fact that it happened within those first 20 minutes, usually he would try, like we've seen it before where he's tried this towards the end of the game, a frustrating game where we haven't been able to get past the defenders. If he's this comfortable taking his time to do it within the first 20 minutes, we're off to a good game.
Yeah, good shout. And he's obviously a shoo-in for a spot on Saturday. Jesus didn't do himself any disservice, did he? He got himself a goal. What's your thoughts on that, Neil?
Yeah, but he did quite well. But for me, I see us going with a double false nine actually for the finals. So that's what I'd like to see at least. So I don't see him starting really. But yeah, very good. He had a good game. Impressed. And what I like to see was that for his goal, he actually took the shot on because, well, it's typical of the City in general. If you're there, you're gonna square it to Sterling, who's gonna square it to someone else, and then you just the defense comes back or the keeper saves it. But so it's good to see him take the shot on, and just in general. I thought he had he had a good game.
Yeah, I thought he'd lost his opportunity of scoring. I think most people thought that actually, didn't they?
Yeah.
Taking his responsibility to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, right, let's talk about the second coming of the Messiah, Phil Foden. I don't understand how he keeps getting better every game I watch him play. He just builds in confidence and stature. And Dave, I'll let you lead the line with Phil, because I know you rate him just as much as I do, as most people do. But God, Bennett, we're so lucky, aren't we?
We are.
And he's a
so
City
lucky.
fan. He's a City fan, so he doesn't want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
He's ours. It's amazing.
I've said for years, haven't I, that I see him as our Steven Gerrard. I think he is going to be the heartbeat of Manchester City for the next 15 years. I honestly believe that. And I think why he just keeps progressing is, number one, our manager, who believes in him. And as for all of our, why is he not playing him? Why, should he go out on loan? Pep Guardiola has managed him absolutely perfectly, because that's how we've got the player that we have now, by him being just brought in gently and slowly. And the second thing I'd say is, look at the players he's been surrounded with in training for several years now, and looking up to David Silva and now KDB and Sergio, and he's learning something from literally the best players in the world. And I think that's why he keeps progressing, Tom. Natural talent, and just the way he is being managed day in, day out, and he wants to do it. He knows he can be the best player in the world. He can be Ballon d'Or in 2 or 3 years quite easily, in my opinion.
I dropped a little bit of a hand grenade into my family chat on the game against Everton. Who's more important to us on Saturday, Phil Foden or Kevin De Bruyne?
Phil Foden.
Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, Phil is good, but Kevin, if he's on it, you could literally take Kevin and 10 pieces of wood, and he will win the game for you.
10 pieces of wood. Did you just say you could take Kevin and 10 pieces of wood? I love that.
Yeah. He'll win it.
I know what that feels like. We've had pieces of wood playing for us for years before.
Oh,
there were seasons of it.
That's amazing.
On that question, Tom, I think De Bruyne would. You look at the levels of it.
Yeah.
Foden's been good the last 18 months, but De Bruyne's been unbelievable for 5 years.
Yeah.
So if he comes at them levels, then if we lose a game and Kevin De Bruyne's at that level, then you got to say something didn't work for us.
The only thing I'd say, actually, Tibbs, what's your answer before I say this?
I was going to say KDB, but give Foden 2 years, and I think it's been good. Like we've been.
Saturday is next week.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd say to this point is, we had 10, 15 games without Kevin De Bruyne, and we still kicked on and still did really well.
Exactly.
And that is my biggest stroke towards Phil Foden.
Yeah, no,
And
I agree with
argument's sake, we played better without Kevin De Bruyne in that period. Ooh.
Okay, look, that's different. But if we're strictly looking at it from a Champions League final perspective, if there ever was a big game player for Manchester City, it's Kevin De Bruyne. You look at his performances against Real Madrid, both last season, both legs, and even this season in the important knockout games. Obviously, he's been injured, yeah, and we have worked without him in our system. But as I said, that guy can single-handedly win a game for you. And I know Phil can do it, but Kevin can just do it better. I mean, if you look at his numbers...
Neil, he has done it against Chelsea as well, De Bruyne.
Yeah, exactly.
Won games against Chelsea he's done before. So.
Against Chelsea, he has that additional motivation as well. And you have seen it. I remember, what was it, 2016 or 17? I think it was a 2-0 where he'd scored with his left foot from... I forgot what year it was. But so, yeah, as you say, against Chelsea, he's got that... almost additional incentive to do better. And I mean, if you looked even against Everton, if you go back and watch his highlights, he's done enough for a highlights reel in one game than most players would do in 5 games or something. You look at his numbers, he made 7 key passes in one match, he created 7 chances. The guy is insane.
Bonkers.
Agreed. My counter argument is this: I agree with everything that you said.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Bernardo Silva is as good as KDB, but he can play that role. He can play that playmaker role. I don't feel we've got anyone at the club who can play like Phil Foden can right now. We get Mahrez to a degree, but I think he's more skillful. But if you look at the goal that Foden scored last week against Brighton, taking it from his own half and running right through, he can do that 20 times a game, and it's just phenomenal. And that finish yesterday, everyone was purring over it. I mean, I don't think there's many players who can finish like that and really be able to spot, right, I need to put it right there in the corner and score. I mean, let's be honest, we need both of them playing on Saturday. My argument is, I think Foden could do against Chelsea on Saturday what he did against Brighton last week. I just have this picture in my mind that Pep's going to tell him, get on the ball and run at that old Chelsea defence, because they are old.
How many times have I said this season, Dave? One day, Phil's going to do a King Clancy against Southampton. He's going to beat 5 or 6 players and score. And I tell you, he's so close to doing that the other week. He's just not done it yet. And I tell you what, to do it on Saturday,
he has got them sort of goals in him. Though.
He has. Of course he has.
That one against Liverpool was close. You know, all he's got to do is take a couple more players on. He's done that. You know what I mean? I said it as well. He's maturing as a man. He's filling out as a man. He's becoming fully grown now. He was a boy when he started playing for us. Now he's becoming a man. He's physical. You know, you can see he's getting broader and he's faster.
More confident, isn't he?
As well.
He's got that bit of guile on his face.
What was he, about 5'8" when he started playing for us? What he's got to be getting on for 6 foot now. Yeah. You know, so he's getting tall and he's becoming a bit of a unit, and that with his pace and his technical ability. You know, it's
but the scary thing about Foden for me is I put out an analysis of him a week ago. So while I was watching a lot of his footage and everything, so if you look at, I mean, obviously his finish last night was good, but if you look at his shooting stats, he's just about overperforming his XG by a bit. And if you remember the Dortmund games, he missed a few good chances in that match where he like shot at the keeper or you know, wide or whatever. So if it's scary to think that he still has room for improvement, and he can still, if Phil Foden stopped improving today, he could still easily go down as one of the best players we ever had. If he plays for another 10 or whatever years, he can still improve. And even his dribbling, his completion rate is about 60%. He's absolutely sensational, but he can still improve, and that's just and well, with Pep around and with all the players he has, the KDBs and all of them, he is inevitably going to improve. So he's going to be one player.
I said last night, I think I said it before a few times now, it is entirely possible that Phil Foden could end his City career as the most decorated Premier League player of all time. He literally could. He is that sort of. He's got 7 major trophies now. Was it rankings at 21 or something? 20 major trophies?
Yeah, he's around that mark.
Yeah. So, you know, in 4 or 5 years' time, Phil Foden could actually be on that amount, if not surpassed it, if we stick with Pep, stick with what we've got now, this forward trajectory. He could be looking at the most decorated English or Premier League player of all time, and he's still probably going to have some left in the tank as well.
Let's just hope Phil Foden's not got a brother.
What I love about Phil, just before we move on, is obviously as City fan, we've been beating on that drum for years. I remember, you know, already 2 years ago, people in the Manchester City Discord and other communities and social media were saying, "Oh, put Phil in the senior team in the Premier League against, you know, other opponents. Like he's ready. He was 16 at the time." But now it's at the point where I'm here in France watching those games. The French commentators, who are a bit more objective, being outside of England, don't really have a favorite, are starting to beat that drum too, being, you know, mentioning, look at Phil Foden, keep this name in mind. Like every week that Foden plays now, it's, you know, keep an eye on this boy, on this man, because he is the future of Manchester City. So it's really nice to see from the abroad perspective that it's not just City fans now. he's
even Gary Neville won't shut up talking about him.
Yeah,
And that's when
yeah,
that's when you know something's right. When Gary Neville literally every other game he's talking about him, he's Phil Foden this, Phil Foden that. I watched a podcast from him today, and he was talking about Phil Foden within the first 3 minutes of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
his name's on everybody's lips, isn't it? Great.
The progression with
Alex,
Phil is.
Did you see that Alex Ferguson interview Gary Neville did with him on Lad Bible?
Yeah.
I think the question was, who's the best young player right now, and Ferguson said, Mason Greenwood. He's obviously going to say that from a United standpoint, and I do rate Greenwood. I think he's a fantastic player, but then, my God, I think he said it through gritted teeth, obviously, but he said Phil Foden, and Ferguson would not say that if he didn't mean it. That's how good he is. When you've got the most decorated Premiership manager of all time saying, Phil Foden's just absolutely something else.
He's the same guy that wanted to sign Dele Alli. I don't know if that means anything or not. It's phenomenal, isn't it? How his progression is going through, and I'm excited to watch him play on Saturday because he's not scared. He's just not. He's not going to be influenced by it.
Fearless.
He is fearless, Tibbs. You're spot on, pal. He'll just roll into it as if it's another game, and that's the charming thing about him. I love it. I can't wait. Do you know what? I'm going to go on record here. I don't often say this. I can't wait to watch England, an England team with him in.
God, if Southgate plays the right team, then
he's got to.
Before Southgate with 6 right backs and then Phil Foden on left back or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I certainly hope he's. You got to pick your team around Foden, haven't you? You've got to pick your team around Foden.
Yeah, the way he's playing, and if Harry Kane's got anything about him as captain, who obviously has Southgate's ear, that's what he needs to do. Is he needs to go to Southgate and say, right, you need to start Foden. This is where you need to play him, and then Foden, just get me the ball here and I'll score. Fans are going to beat us anyway, Tim. So it is what it is. But
Tibbs, side question.
Yes.
Where does your loyalty lie in relation to a certain defender that was French and is now Spanish?
Yeah.
I've been very vocal about this. I'm a Laporte fan, and this is one of those cases where I've been. I do support the national team and the coach, of course. I do not support the decision that he's had of not calling Laporte. I think that Laporte is a much better defender than Lenglet at Barcelona, who keeps getting the call up for France. Not to put Lenglet down from Barcelona, but I just think Laporte is a much better defender. I think from what I've seen and heard over the past few years, 2 reasons why Laporte didn't get the call up. He did get it once, but that was right around the time that he injured his knee, I believe.
Yeah.
2 reasons. The first was that Deschamps does like his group to be a tight group, and for if he sees that a couple of the players are gonna get together really well, it is socially and in terms of them acting like a team and a family, he's gonna prioritize this. And this is the same thing that happened at the World Cup. The second thing is there were some rumors that a couple years ago, Deschamps and Laporte had not quite a falling out because they didn't have a relationship, but something didn't go wrong with these two. So I don't really know. I'm happy for him that he's now going to play for Spain, that he gets a national team call up. I'm just frustrated that he couldn't get it for France.
Isn't it nice when Tibbs says Laporte?
Yeah.
Do you know what I was thinking? That yeah.
Beautiful when he says it.
It's the proper French pronunciation.
Yeah.
I think we found our Laporte correspondent, haven't we?
Definitely.
MLB.
You can do the Spanish games for us when we do the match commentaries.
Yeah.
There's gonna you all know France are gonna play Spain at some point, and it's gonna be the Laporte.
Inevitable.
It's inevitable. You're spot on. I'm convinced that game's gonna happen.
Yeah, he's gonna bang it ahead of Laporte.
I know. I've heard that from a bunch of supporters. I do have France playing against Spain in my bracket. I do not remember where I put it, but yeah, I'm very excited for the Euro.
It'll be the
Some
semi-final.
team you've got as well.
Yeah, but the semi-final
Yeah,
decided
France,
that to
man.
play England in the final. Don't worry. It's right. We'll move on. Ruben Diaz, football writer, player of the season. City's player of the season, as voted for by the fans, has to be voted player of the season officially by the players' player. Has to be, doesn't he? He's got to be.
Easy.
He's got to be.
I mean, the only person you can make a case for is Harry Kane because he's playing in with all due respect, a not very good Tottenham side. Let's put it that way. And he's still top of the goal scoring charts, and he's still top of the assist chart. It takes something to do that. But that being said, you can't take it away from Ruben what he's done. He's come in and he's absolutely transformed the defense. At what he's just 23, and he's come in. He's established himself as not just one of the first names on the team sheet, but also as one of the leaders. I think Pep said that he's going to promote him to, the core captaincy group with like the Fernandinhos and Sterlings and De Bruynes. So, to do that in your debut season in a foreign country, and by the way, this is the first time he's playing outside Portugal at just 23 years of age. It's just sensational.
I've just got his. He talks about on Twitter. It's a huge honour to win this award from the fans of the first season. This team has worked hard to keep representing you during this tough time, and it was great to see some of you back yesterday. Now all our focus is on Saturday, making you proud. After there's Fernandinho captain, then it's going to be KDB, then it's going to be Ruben Diaz for another 5, 6, 7 years, isn't it? It's kind, you can kind of see the trail of captaincy that's already ahead of us, and then potentially Phil Foden after he's won his 4th Champions League.
Yes, that's the spirit.
Come on, City. Is anyone nervous about Saturday yet?
Oh yes.
Got some breaking news, Tom.
Yes,
Sorry
please.
to interrupt.
Yeah, break the news.
Pep Guardiola's just been named LMA Manager of the Year.
Yes.
As announced by actual Man City themselves. So congratulations, Pep.
Well done, Pep. Love a bit of breaking news. That's nice to see.
Very good.
LMA Manager of the Year. That's League Manager Association, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what's the other one he could win then? What's the next one? Is it
It'll just be the Manager of the Season, won't it?
Manager of the Season? FA Manager.
The Premier League, yeah.
Phenomenal.
They're giving shampoo bottles or something.
Absolutely phenomenal.
I don't think I'm nervous, Tom, because I've been nervous about games for a lot of the times under Pep because we don't know what team he's going to put out.
Yeah.
And we're, as fans, we've been nervous that bloody hell, is he going to put Jesus in goal and Edison's right back? We're joking, but we never know. I think everyone has a real good idea, apart from maybe one or two players that are going to play on Saturday, barring injuries in training. And I think that gives a lot of fans a lot of comfort moving in that I think we know how we're going to play. I think we know it's going to be Gundogan and KDB in the middle. I think we know it's going to be Diaz and Stones at the back, and probably Zinchenko and Walker and Edison. It's more up front where there's maybe a little bit of, okay, is Foden going to be on the left, Mahrez on the right, and Jesus or Silva through the middle? And we've never been like that before. It's been more of, God, there could be 5 or 6 players here who could get in. I think we're going into this with a bit more comfort that Pep's got this. Pep knows his team. So it's whether that team, that starting 11 on Saturday, are they going to show up?
And you know what? We won't give this too much airtime because we're going to talk about it in later pods. So we're going to end very soon now. Does anyone else have anything to add before we shoot off? Before I just run one thing by you about Guardiola. Has anything else got anyone to add?
I just wanted to ask a question of Tibbs, actually, just going back to France. Is there any surprise that Mendy didn't make the squad? I know he's not had the greatest season, but when I look at that defender list, you've got a brilliant squad, but defenders, not amazing. Is there a bit of surprise in France that he's not got in that squad?
No, not really. I think with the knee injuries, and also we are pretty stacked at left backs, to be honest. We have Lucas Hernandez. His brother Theo is probably going to get the call up within a few months, if not 1 year maximum. We have Luca Digne from Everton.
He's a good player. I like him.
He's
Leo Dubois.
Leo Dubois as well.
Leon,
Neil, you didn't do it in the right accent. Try that again. Do it in Tibbs'
Leo
accent.
Dubois.
That's close
I'm
enough.
right, yeah?
That's close enough.
Not bad.
Yeah, so to answer your question, no surprise really. There wasn't any debate about that.
I mean, for me, Tibbs, that's my bet for the Euros. That is some squad that you've got there. When the names that you mentioned
Spoiled.
who didn't even make it in to the squad.
Oh, yeah.
If you
Just
look at their
unbelievable.
under 21s though, there's the under 21 Euros as well, the knockouts. If you look at that squad, it's unfair. If you took that squad and put it to the Euros, they're making the knockouts easily. It's France is just unfair at this point. But as far as the Euros go, it's between France and Portugal in my opinion, because Portugal have a good squad too.
I'll have to share it away. I'll have to share it on social media away from the podcast. I saw it elsewhere, but I think there's a list of the players who didn't make the squad, and you could make an 11 out of this,
Wow.
which very very grateful for.
Have you seen Portugal's squad? I think Portugal have got a good shout.
Yeah, they're quite good.
Very good squad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. But we're going to end on something. I just want to bring. There were certain fans, wasn't there, Dave Pulpy, a few months ago that wanted Pep Guardiola to leave the club. They were a bit disappointed that how things were going and didn't see a shining light of much success from us this season. So I'm just going to give you a run through of Pep Guardiola's league finishes since 2009, and this is mainly aimed at the people that doubted Pep and didn't want Pep and don't think he's the greatest manager that's ever managed a football team. Are you ready for this? 2009 first, 2010 first, 2011 first, 2012 second, 2013 first, 2014 first, 2015 first, 2016 first, 2017 third, boo, 2018 first, 2019 first, 2020 second, 2021 first. Imagine doubting him.
You have to be out of your mind.
Why would you even consider doubting that man?
Yeah.
Bonkers. Anyway, we're going to love you and leave you, boys. Got another show coming on Wednesday. Thank you very much for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. If you listen to this on a podcast, thank you. Leave us a review. They do help. If you leave us a review, the clever analytics that goes in the background helps us find other blues that are listening to our show. 19,000 downloads up to now, lads. We're not doing too bad on the podcasts. Thank you for everybody. Thank you for all your help. And we'll speak to you soon, Blues. Catch you later.
Bye,
everyone.
Come on, Blues.